Okay, students. So now we have a concurrency control part, and it is continuation part of the lock-based protocol. So after the lock-based protocol, we will see the two-phase locking protocol and timestamp-based protocol. But before that, let me inform you all concurrency control we are discussing here two-phase locking protocol and timestamp-based protocol. And we have also discussed the one more protocol that was a lock-based protocol. So what is this actually? This is the concurrency control schemes by which we try to control the concurrency problems. So in our model, in our system, in the database system, what is the problem we are having? So if the problem persists by the concurrency control piece, then we can manage all these things by the simple manner. So here we have a concurrency control protocol. So first protocol we have already seen by the log-based protocol yesterday. Now let us continue to next one. That is two-phase locking protocol. Let me move to the next slide to describe the thing. It's heading the two-phase locking protocol. The two-phase locking protocol is very simple protocol, and what is saying to us. In this case, we have a two phase. One is a growing phase, other is sinking phase. One protocol that ensures the serializability in the two-phase locking protocol, and this protocol requires that each transaction issue lock and unlock request in two phase. So if you don't know idea about the locking protocol, then you are not able to understand the two-phase locking protocol. So in my lectures, we have sequence. If you are missing one class, then other class you will not able to understand. So just request all the students please attend the other class, and because we have synchronization from the virtual as well. Now come to the point growing phase. So a transaction may often locks, but may not readily lock. So this is the point we have to keep in mind. The growing phase means a transaction may often lock, but may not release any lock. So this is what this is unlock. Shrinking phase. Shrinking phase is saying to us a transaction may release unlock, release the lock that's unlocked, but may not obtain any new lock. So growing phase and shrinking phase are the reverse of each other. But by default, whatever we are doing, that is a growing phase. Because for doing anything by the log-based protocol, so what you have to do? You have to use the log protocol. So as an initial level, we can say we are the part of the growing phase. Let us understand this thing by the help of the simple example. Whenever you have any problems, you can ask me. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just sharing each and everything properly. T1, T2 are the two beautiful proper transaction where it contains some information log XA, log XB, and log A and log B, and log 2 will following by the log SA, log XBC, and log A and log C. So transaction T1 contains the some transaction region. So growing phase will be started from the our step number 3 to 1 to 3. Yes. From this from this phase to this phase, I'm just highlighting that belong to the growing phase. That belong to the growing phase. So what is the shrinking phase? Shrinking phase is coming from the 5 to 6. No, 5 to 7. Why it is coming? Why it is coming? Because it's very simple concept. You can easily say here. What is the definition of the growing phase? Growing phase, a transaction may often lock, but may not release any lock. So before unlocking, what is the information we have that is considered as a growing phase. So it doesn't mean what is the unlock we have log A or log B doesn't mean, but we are finding that is unlocked. So that part will be the part of the that part will not be part of the growing phase. That will be the part of the shrinking phase. So growing phase of this part you can say of the 1 to 3 we have, but 5 to 5, 6, 7 belong to the unlock shrinking phase. Lock point is 8. Lock point is 3. Lock point is 3 is saying to us, you can observe over here. Lock point 3 is saying to us, this is a point where lock point is 3 is saying to us, this is a point after applying the lock on the specific data item and we can perform the some operation on the data item that is B. So if we have a B data item, so we need to perform any operation of the B data item, then the lock we have applied on the B. It doesn't mean it is shared or exclusive, but the information we have applied here. So after the lock operation, what is the next statement or instruction we have? That is started by the lock point. So we have the lock point 3. Same here, we can see, observe over here. Same, we can observe over here. This is the lock point. This is the lock point 6. Because after the this lock, we have a lock point. So instructions that belong to that part we will consider this part. So lock C. So this is the growing phase. And after applying the log xc, so what is the next statement from where we can start our instructions under this logs, that is a log point at 6. So we have, unlike we have its growing or sinking phase. So it's growing phase we have seen. Now its shrinking phase will be 8 and 9. So it is also written over here. Now it is clear to all right now. This example is clear.
So
Yes,
I
sir.
have a doubt.
Yes, tell me.
Log SA and log XB are same or different?
Log x.
SA and XB.
Okay. Both are the
SA.
different. So
Sir,
this,
so if logs are different, so growing fish should start from 0 level.
see, here you have to understand the important point. I'm speaking a simple way. I'm choosing different color for a better man. This is the log XB I'm taking over here. This is the growing phase of the data item B, that is from where we are starting the log of the B. So now, if I'm choosing this one, so this one will be part of the growing phase of the A data item from where we are starting the log. Suppose after this log SA we have some statement. So thus from the statement we have the entire information. Those are enter into the our growing phase. So after the log SA, suppose I am taking this example right now. I am writing like this way: log SA. Here I am writing some statement. Okay. So in this case, you can easily say this will be considered as our growing phase, and this point becomes a log point. Okay, now clear? But here after the log SA, we don't have any instruction, so that's why we are not taking this is as a growing phase. But this will be part of the growing phase of only this statement log. So now read the statement. A transaction may obtain log, but may the transaction may obtain logs, but may not release any log. So in this case, after applying the log as is simple, so what are the other information that are to be executed by transaction? No statements are available. So that's why we are not considering this as log as is. So, but in the log XB, we have some statement which is just mentioned by the dashboard. So there are some points can be captured. So from which we have to identify what are the statements we have that are the part of our transaction for education purpose. So that point we have the our log point. Now clear?
Yes, sir. Got it.
Now, yeah. Now in this case, you can easily say in the log SA, you can understand this is a growing phase. I'm 100% agree, but you can easily say over here after the log SA inside the transaction T2, we don't have any more instructions which can be identified by these instructions are belong to the log SA. So definitely we can say this is not a good idea to determine the growing phase. But in the case of the log XA. So you can say this can be identified where we have all the things. So after the log XA, we can start, you can see. So it's your choice from which we are starting. So what is the growing phase, what is the log phase we have. So it's your choice. Now, I can also consider this point right now as a growing phase. From log ASA, suppose from log ASA to I can consider this can be considered as a growing phase. This dark green I have mentioned over here, that can also be considered as a growing phase because after log ASA, suppose we have some statements where we are writing some information which is related to our transition T2 information. So we can say this can be considered as a growing phase. So in the growing phase and shrinking phase, what we have? Here I am giving the trick over here. Shrinking phase always will be identified by the unlock. So because unlock itself is determined by the shrinking phase, now there is no more data item we will use for operation purpose. So we can say this is shrinking phase. In our example, you will be okay. Before moving to the next part, let me know right now. Is it clear to all right now? What is the growing phase and what is the shrinking phase? Now it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's why I've already written over here B, C, C after the growing phase, shrinking phase. Just look at the right side. Now, this is the some points we have to understand properly. I have written the theory point over here for a betterment, so it will clear to all right now. But some points we have to understand, especially. So now, for summary purpose, I can speak over here. If we have a transition T, now we have transition T3, now we have a transition T2, and next transition we have T4. T1, T2, T3, T4 are the four transitions, but what you are observing over here, don't read the unnecessary message over here, just think what we have over here. So look at the example here. So in the T1 transaction, I'm using the log XP. So what I'm doing, I'm using the read view operation, and then I'm just subtract some 50 rupees amount and I'm writing the operation. So these three statements that are part of that would be the part of the growing phase of the B data item, B data item under the lock exclusive. So now is it clear to all right now? Yes, tell me. Is it clear? From the T1, is it clear to all right now?
Sir, can you repeat, please?
Yes. In the transaction T1, I'm using the log XP and I'm inside this one, I'm using the read B operation and I'm performing an arithmetic operation, I'm writing B. So exclusion mode I'm taking why? Because I'm using the read and write operation. So this is a three statement that will be considered as a growing phase. So that's why it is mentioned over here GP. GP means just growing phase for understanding purpose only. This is clear to right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, same thing it will happen with the log x. Say I'm reading A and reading B and writing A. So I'm following the growing phase over here. So now I'm happy. So now this is considered as a growing phase. So for a second you will say now this is a transition that consists the growing phase and shrinking phase. But this is not a great answer. What you are observing over here, suppose after the write A operation inside transition T1, write A. After the write A operation, we have to use the data item B, suppose display purpose, some other thing. But before that, what I did mistakes. I did a mistakes. What I mistakes I've done? You can easily see over here. I have unlocked B. So I'm unable to use the B data item because it was now locked. So this was the problem over here. So we can say transit T1 will not consist of our growing phase property. Now, so what I'm doing, I'm just transforming T1 into T3 transaction. So I'm locking B and just all these things that are considered as a. So this read will be the part of the growing phase. Now this will be the part of the growing phase as we have seen. Now, what is the definition of the growing phase? A growing phase will contain the locks only, not unlocked. So in this point, we have seen observe over here. Now we got the another part that is the unlock. Yes, of course. So now we are reading over here, and yes, here we have. So we are performing the operation right. So the which is the so in the transaction theory, I have highlighted some statements, and these statements will be the part of the growing phase. That is the point. So now what I did, I just shifted to the unlock B operation at the bottom side. It means what I'm doing, I'm doing the delete unlock. So with that, with the delete unlock, I can transform my transition T1 into T3 that defines the growing phase property. So after the unlock, so if after the write A, if I need B data item, then I can perform some operation because it was not unlocked so far. But after unlocking B, I was unable to use data item B more. So that is the reason. Same thing it has happened with the transaction T2 and transaction T4. So transaction T2 is not supported by the growing phase of shrinking phase, but it is converted into the transaction T4. So now we have the this one. Okay. So with the help of the delayed unlocking, you can transform your transition into two-phase locking. So that is the point. Now it is clear to all right now. So this is the point from where you have to identify where the two-phase locking we have. Okay, now it is clear to all right now. Yes, any doubt or is it clear? Just to tell me any problem.
So in transaction 3, where is the shrinking phase?
Yeah, this is a good question asking. Actually, I was waiting. So this is the shrinking phase. Shrinking phase. Now, before telling you, just let me move to back our definition. Shrinking phase is a transition may release the lock but may not obtain any new lock. So in the transition T3, this would be the your shrinking phase of the data item B and A. Now clear?
Okay, sir. So, sir, it means in transaction 1, unlock A is also shrinking phase, right?
Yes, unlock. Yes, definitely. See, in a in growing phase, we can use the multiple lock. There will be no issue. But in the case of the shrinking phase, we have to use only the lock unlock part. In the shrinking phase, we can use only the unlock. If we are using the lock, so that will not be considered as a shrinking phase. So before that part will be considered as a shrinking phase only. So here we have unlocked B, unlock B, so unlock A, unlock B. So these two will be considered as a shrinking phase. Now we are shrinking the data item for closing purpose only. This is a sense of it. A growing piece, now we are expanding our B or A data item for its operational purpose. So that is the reason. So now name is given from the shrinking growing means we are expanding our data item for operational purpose. And now we are shrinking our data item for closing purpose. This is the only sense. But from the T1, if you are closing the B and suddenly if I need to use B after the write operation, as you can see, so I was unable to use. I have to apply the lock B and then I have to perform the read B and then. So it takes the unnecessary memory more. So it's a better idea to use the two-phase locking to prevent the some memory. This is the only simple meaning. Clear?
Yes, sir.
That is a simple. There are simple things we have to keep in mind properly. And I was spoken so many things, and all these things are written over here in my slide. Okay, so you can go through the slide and read the point. But with the help of the different colors, I have just explained the idea. Okay, so now is it clear to all right now or any problem? Yes, tell me. Any problem? Or everything is clear? Okay, should I move to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is the example. So I have already discussed the point as the student asked me a question. So this will be the singing phase, unlock B and unlock B. So from this point, I have raised a question to the student. Without any task or operation, how you can say this is shrinking phase? Can you justify this one right now? In unlock B, unlock A, these are the part of the shrinking phase. Can you justify? I'm taking the snap of the T3 transition, so I'm just asking a simple question. How you can say without using any task or operations, how you can say this is just let me know right now. Can anyone tell me?
So, because we are closing all the operations now, that's why this is called shrinking phase.
Yeah, that's a good point because after the unlocking A B, you would try to use B and A B. there will be no sense. So after unlocking B and A, if you try to use A and B, there will be no sense because now it was closed or it was unlocked. So if you want to use, then you have to apply the relocking. And when you are applying the relocking, then what you're doing again, you are putting the growing phase. That is the only reason we are not saying it is a more expectable part. So unlock we are applying, so that will be by default considered as a shrinking phase. So this is the point only. So we are not using any other operation. After this, we can use any other operation. We can also use, but that will not be considered of the shrinking phase because no more operation is required. Okay, so that is the reason. So two-phase locking does not ensure the freedom from the deadlock. So in the yesterday, we have observed this diagram in the tangent T3 and tangent T4. What was the deadlock? Deadlock was occurred when we are using the log B over here and then log SA over here, and in the tangent T4 also using the log SB. Okay, it means tangent B was want to lock the B data item, but it was not unlocked. So that is the problem. It was not unlocked inside the T3. So it will be a situation that is known as the deadlock, and yesterday we have seen. So if we are using the two-phase locking, that there is no guarantee that the uh, we can prevent or the our transition from the deadlock. There are many chances it can happen. So this is the reason. From this point, I'm giving an example. Suppose you want to withdraw some amount from the ATM card, and suddenly you got a message due to some technical issues. So what you will do? You few things are not in your hand. So you will leave. Okay, leave it after some days, 2 days, or maybe after some hours. We can get our data, or we can get our information can be rolled back. So from this perspective, we have this contract. So two-phase locking does not ensure the freedom from the debt that we can have. So observe the transition T3 and T4 are the two-phase, but in schedule they are dead. So deadlock here we have, but we are the part of the two-phase. Yeah, for two-phase we have. There are two-phase. Here we have the only growing phase are showing over here, but after this point, suppose I'm using the unlock. Just let me write correctly over here one more part. Suppose after this point I'm unlocking B. Okay, I'm unlocking B. Suppose I'm using unlock. So from this point, our shrinking phase will start. Our shrinking phase will start. But before that, what I have been, all these statements belong to the growing phase. All these belong to the growing phase. But what we have been observed, if we are following the two-phase locking properly, but there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that deadlock may not prevent. Deadlock may happen. So that's the reason. So two-phase locking is not much also suitable. So what are the other things we have? So let us understand things properly. So we have decided a solution. Solution here we have the cascading rollback. So rollback is a better example to prevent the deadlock. So if there is a situation where the information was stuck between the two transactions same time, so we can say that the transaction may fail. So if we have done some operations, so after performing some operations, so if we are losing some information, it's better at it lose information. We can roll back our statement. So at least we can start our work from the very beginning part. So our information will not be lost. So to prevent from the losing information, we can start our task from the very beginning. That is the reason. So rollback will be applicable. So cascade rolling is saying to us there is a cascade. The cascading is step by step on one another, one on another. So that's why the cascading is. So cascading rollback may also occur inside the two-phase locking. So as you can see in the diagram, lock X A, read A, lock X B, read B, write A, and unlock A. So the transition T5, I'm using the growing phase and shrinking phase. And in the transition TCs and transition TCM respectively, I'm having the A data item followed by the exclusive lock and shared lock. So what you are observing over here, due to some other reason, technical reason, my transaction was failed. So now I'm coming on the my point, but withdrawing the 10,000 rupees or some amount from the ATM card, suddenly my network was failed. Not mine, means my ATM machine network failed. So my transaction will be paid automatically. But I got a message I deducted 10,000 rupees from my main balance. So, but I didn't receive any amount from the machine. So after some time, your amount will roll back, and a machine will give a message, or the I will get an SMS from the I will get an SMS from the bank side, and your amount will be rolled back, and within the 2 days or maybe within the 2 hours, your amount will be rolled back, and you will get the amount, or that is a credited automatically. But there is a problem in this other situation right now. To prevent from the our security purpose, what the bank are doing right now, bank is giving a chance. After sometimes you have to withdraw now. So that is the point. So if you the money trade, it is giving you just hand over your some amount after withdrawing the amount, then you will say I'm not holding the amount. So after 2 seconds you are not holding the amount, then your amount will roll back into the machine tray, and then you will complain to bank, I didn't get that because I was busy to call my friend, and I didn't hold the I didn't hold the amount at that moment. So that is the case we have. So at that time we can see. So that was the transaction was not fair. Transaction was success, but you are the person who didn't pick the or you didn't hold the amount or the hard cash which is came out from the money tray. So that is the point we have to keep in mind. So there is a transaction is fair. Transaction fair means a logical problem. It is not a user problem. It is not a physical problem. It is a logical problem which is generated by the machine. It depends on the some technical issues. I mean the network issue you can say. So here, if transaction T5 was failed, then transaction T6 and transaction T7 are the two transactions which can lead to prevent from the failure transaction. So transaction T6 and T7 are the supportive transaction. So when we are having this kind of a mechanism, so this is known as the cascading rollback. So cascading rollback is also applicable in the two-phase blocking. So here you can say when I'm having the growing phase and shrinking phase, so cascading rollback is also possible. So from this point you can see. So I am highlighted a point over here, but the failure of the T5 after the read A step of read 7 lead to cascading the rollback of the transit T6 and transition T7. So what you are observing over here, just let me show the proof one thing. If transition TC, this was a fail after read. So from this point, if it is fail. So the control was not moving to the lock SB and read B and write A and unlock A. So what happened from this point? The control will jump to the T7 here where we was trying to read A. Okay, or control may jump to the this point here. So this was the alternate option we can say over here. Just like having the extra pen while writing the answer on the exam paper. So there's no guarantee the pen will work finally at the time of the examination. So we have to take a backup. So as a backup, I'm having the extra pen. So either these transaction TC and transaction TC are the backup transactions. It should be a great idea. Okay. Is it clear to right now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, good. So these are the small concepts we have to keep in mind properly while understanding the database management system. Okay. Now let's move to the next slide. Now, yes, this is exercise to all the people, and this is exercise I have already discussed with other students. So I'm expecting you will speak something over here properly. So just read this slide and tell me. I have already discussed this point, but I was expecting you will speak where we can apply the lock and unlock instruction. Okay, so this is a simple I'm giving you right now, and tell me where we can apply the lock and lock. Okay, let me remove unnecessary over here. Now tell me, read this question and tell me, add log and unlog instruction to transaction T31 and T32 so that it can also two-phase locking protocol. This is our first task. And can the execution of these transitions result in a deadlock? Okay, now tell me how to solve this problem.
Sir,
Yes, tell me.
so in the transaction T31, first statement will be lock A, then read
Okay.
A.
Okay, so can you tell me where I should write the lock in?
The above read A.
Okay. It is already shown by me over here, so you can give your answer in better way. So which mode I can use? Shared mode or exclusive mode? Which mode I must use? Shared mode or exclusive mode? Just tell me.
The shared mode.
Why shared mode? That is the point. If I'm asking the question, so you must have some logic before speaking anything. So you're telling me the shared mode you must take. So why I should take over shared mode? Just tell me. If you're telling me,
Sir,
yes,
because there is no option of write A.
yeah, that's a brilliant answer because in the transaction T31 we don't have any priority operation. So how I can take the log exclusive A? We can take only the shared exclusive. Divyanshi, focus on the concept. Okay, so now what is the next step? What I will do?
So then write lock A above read B. Lock B above read B.
So what I should do? Log. Just tell me. Computer statement. Log.
Lock B.
Log B. Which mode I must take? Shared exclusive.
The exclusive mode.
Yeah, that's a great answer right now. So this is happening over here. So now after this point we can unlock. Okay, so after the right operation we can unlock. Same thing here. I am just writing. We have to use the log B, but definitely it would be shared because there is no right operation. Just super answer. Now, same it is happening with the log exclusive A. After this point, we can apply the unlock over here. So after, of course, we can apply the unlock. So in the unlock, no need to define the shared or exclusive. So we can write only the unlock. Just A. First, we are closing A, and then we will close the B. So depend on the situation, what you want to do, you can use. So you can use the unlock A, unlock B. It's your choice. Okay, so you can use unlock A, and then unlock B, then unlock B. So this is a simple example by which we have seen. And now you can also do the same thing over here. So my question was still we have, can the execution these transition result in a deadlock? Just tell me right now. This is the point where I have to raise. Can the execution of these transitions result in a deadlock? Just tell me. Is it happening in the deadlock?
No, sir.
How you can say it is not happening with the deadlock?
So because in both the transactions we are unlocking both A and B lock.
Okay, but as I told you here, just reach this point, two-phase locking does not ensure the freedom from the deadlock. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee the two-phase locking we are having the deadlock. There's some chance we can have, but there's no guarantee. So what we have to do? So can the execution of these transactions result in a deadlock? So that is a big point. So just tell me right now. So the things are very simple. It seems to us, but it is not simple. We have to understand the concept properly. We have to understand each and everything step by step. No problem. I'm just coming on to my point. So just listen. So transition T31, transition T3, these are the two transitions which are the part of the concurrency control execution. Okay. So here we are handling the concurrency problem we are having. So triangle T31, triangle T32, we can write in the serial mode, serial schedule we can write. But we are not following the serial schedules. We are understanding this concept inside the concurrency control. So first you can use the log SA where you can apply the read operation, and then you can apply the log B by the other part. So just listen over here. See, this is a solution I'm showing right now, the solution. And what is the part I have picked over here? So see over here, this log SA come over here. Okay, a read definitely will come out over here, but it was not mentioned over here, but it will come after this one. Log XV is coming over here, not over, just there's a transition. Just let me write correctly. Was wrong. Yeah. From transition, from the transition T32, we have used this point right now, and read B from the read B. This is coming from the read B. So this read B is coming from the this point. So triangle T32 and triangle T31, what we have, so we have mentioned over here. Now triangle 31, we have the log XP. You can use it, no problem. You can use it, no problem. Okay, so read B we can write in here, or we can also write here. Okay, so it's your choice how we are writing. So it doesn't mean okay. So here what I'm using, here I'm using a exclusive A because in this case I don't have any write operation of A. So I'm using the log SA, and 32 I'm using the log SA. So here what we have, here I'm just putting the all the transaction statement in the specific position. So I need to check where it is happening the log. I'm not following the schedule. I'm following the concurrency schedule. So I need to pick the appropriate statement to justify the answer. Is it deadlock or not? So that is the reason. If but why it is saying to us how we can putting all these information like this one. See, observe over here. If I'm not putting like this one, then how I can say what is a growing phase and what is a shrinking phase? So if I'm just need to identify we have to determine each and shrinking phase and growing phase, so we can unlock as I can take over here. So I'm reading over here. I can do the unlock, but after unlocking, I was have to start once again the log XA, and I have to read A again. That is the reason we have to like this one. So like this one, I have already explained this is. Read A I have taken over here, read B I have taken over here. So this is the point. In my example where I solve this problem, I have already mentioned the read A here, not the bottom side. But in this solution, we have the read A bottom side. So which is the point where the point you can put the detail you have to justify. So here you can say there is no conflicting should be happening. If conflicting is happening, so read A and read B. Just let me highlight this point. Suppose read B, and from this point to this point we don't have any conflicting. So conflict should not be happening. If it is conflicting happening, then what we have to do? We have to apply the swapping, and the meaning should not be changed. So read B and read B, it is also possible. So there is no conflicting over here. So we can say we can proceed without any problem. And this is the entire step we have to take. So this transaction is now deadlock. How we can say deadlock? Because in this transaction we have not determined the unlock. So if we need to remove the deadlock, if we need to remove the thing, then we have to write the thing property. So suppose I just need to remove the deadlock. So what is the thing I can use? I can use the deadlock. I can use the unlock after using the read A. I can use, no issue. I can use, but I have to preserve. I have to think at that moment. Is it part of the growing phase or is it part of the shrinking phase? If it is pulling by the growing phase, then we have to write on the specific position. Else we can't take. So in this our given T transaction T31 or transaction T32, we have a shrinking phase at the bottom side. So after complete writing to all the statement in the transaction T1 and T31, T32 in the solution, we have to write the unlock A and B at the bottom side. That is the reason. That is the reason we can't use as a beginning part. If you are using, then you are changing. You are not taking the data properly. But you have to place the appropriate position of the each and every instruction. So here we have the list of the instruction inside the tangent T31, tangent T32. So this is the point. So to placing the log and log is an easy task, but what is the exact position we have to pick, and no confusion should be here. That is the first we have to keep in mind. If conversion is happening, so we have to transform this point into the serial schedule. But we are part of the concurrency control, so conflict should not be happen. That is the point. Okay, so this is all the people we have to keep in mind. So in this case, non-conflicting operation should be happen. Non-conflicting operation should be happen. Okay, is it clear to all right now? Deadlock will be occurred because we are using the deadlock. The reason is deadlock. I'm just explaining over here. The reason of the deadlock is over here. The reason is clear. See, here I'm using log A and log B before using the unlock, because unlock was used at the bottom side. So that lock definitely will work. This was a simple concept. Now clear? The reason is clear? Yes, tell me right now. Is it clear to all right now? Just tell me, any problem? Just tell me. If you have any problems, you can ask.
Sir, means lock happens at the last. That is the reason for that lock.
Yes, definitely. This is a simple answer. Because we are putting the unlock from the our given information. The transaction T31, 32 we have, in which we have the unlock at the bottom side. So if we have to, we can't put the unlock at the beginning part. If you're putting, then you have to use the lock exclusive A at the T32. So definitely we are changing something. So that is only simple meaning that log may occur. If you're using previously, then again you have to apply the lock, and then again you have to read A. So that is not a problem. The sequencing we have to keep in mind. See, here I am picking this lock as A. So this will come on the first. I can't take the write B first. I can take the read B first. We have to keep in mind the order, but the placing we have to put the appropriate place. So the reason is clear now. All the instructions of the tangent T31 are not executed on the one movement, and thereafter the tangent T30 will not be executed. Here we have a concurrency. We have the concurrency execution. Here we don't have the serial scheduling. Tangent T31 will execute the first all instruction, then tangent T32. This is not happening. This is happening by the concurrency control of here. So first control will jump to the T31, then T32, then T31, T32, or maybe vice versa. It is happening because of the concurrency nature. But here we don't have any serial schedule, so this cannot be stand. T31 we have to write first, and T32. So we have to identify the problem. We have to identify the place where we can have, and by placing all these things, conflicting should not be happen. If it is happening, then you have to put your instruction and appropriate place. So that is the point. So here I am just giving a small part of the solution. Okay, now clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. After this learning this important point, that is our two-phase locking protocol, we have a timestamp protocol. Timestamp protocol, I will speak over here in simple way, so it will be more clear to all. What I have written over here, the most commonly used concurrency protocol. The most commonly used concurrency control scheme is a timestamp-based protocol, and this protocol either use a system time or the logical counter as a timestamp. So timestamp is nothing which is a time value. While withdrawing the amount from the ATM card, you have been observed while having the slip from the ATM machines, but nowadays it is not happening. But previously you have been observed, you are getting an SMS on the time. You are getting a slip on the time which is written over here. You have put on the some amount on this moment from this ID of the ATM and from this place only. So this is what actually on which time you have withdrawn the amount. That is a timestamp. So log-based protocol, this is the important point. So this is the entire statement is important. What is written over here? So I'm speaking after coloring is this one. Log-based protocol means the order between the converting pairs, and we have seen this thing. But when talking about the timestamp based protocol, it starts the working as soon as the transition is created. So when the transition is created, it starts the working. How you can say when transition is started? It means the transition should complete within the few couple of seconds or depend on the given time. It doesn't mean what it has order. So timestamp based protocol is just following the timestamp based information. So when the time transition is created, then timestamp protocol is started automatically. But log-based protocol is saying to us when we are applying the locking, then our log-based protocol will be applicable. It doesn't mean at what time we are starting. So that is the point we have to understand. So every transaction has a timestamp associated with it, and ordering is determined by the age of the transaction. It is just like the lifespan on our transaction. So when transaction was born and transaction will be ended, and this period will be very least amount, will be a very least amount of our time. It could be the millisecond, it could be the 1 second, 2 seconds, depend on the thing. So a transition period at the some 2 block time. So between the order then the other transactions that become after it. So definitely the older one will be given the first priority. So just like example, if I need to give the priority to my grandfather, my father, and myself, so I will give the priority to my grandfather because he is older. So because he has a more life of the timestamps, if I consider in this one right now, because he has a more age. From inspired from my home, so I can say over here the transition which is coming on the first that will be executed first. Okay, and few things are dependent on the algorithm. So that is the point you have to keep in mind. So in addition, the every data item is given the latest read and write operations. We can say the read and write operation will be supported by the timestamp. So that is a point you have to keep in mind. So every data item will be associated with the read and write timestamp, and this lets the system know when the last read and write operations was performed on the data item. So you have been observed this thing many times. If you are logging into the internet banking, so it will a message will pop up on the screen. Last time you have logged in XYZ date in time. So this is what this read and write timestamp value they are keeping inside our database. And you are visiting the IRCTC website. How many when the last time you have logged in? What is the last ticket you have booked? So it will pop up the display. And if you are looking for the upcoming journey, so upcoming journey will display on the pop-up of the screen. So we have this one. So all these information are maintained by the database in form of timestamp. When you have to come to the next you follow the next journey, that is to be done by the read and write timestamps. So this is timestamp based protocol. We have seen this little theoretically, and each and everything just what I have explained, it is already mentioned over here. So I'm not going through this thread. Simple example I'm taking in a real life application. Planet T1, T2, T3 we have. So T1 has entered at the system for 0010 time. Suppose is a time only. Next, T2 has entered the system 0020, and T3 has entered in the system at the 0030. So priority will be given to transient T1 just like giving the priority to my grandfather. So this is the point we have to keep in mind. Transient T2 will become as my father, so definitely the next priority will be given to the transient T2. And transient T3 came into the system lately, so that will given the priority as the last one. So this is a simple example. From this perspective, we have the another protocol that is another timestamp order protocol. This timestamp order protocol or TO protocol will be applicable inside the our timestamp based protocol. So that is the point here. So before moving to the timestamp ordering protocol or TO protocol, just let me know right now the concept so far I have discussed. Is it clear to all? This idea is clear to all. Timestamp based protocol, is it clear to all right now? Timestamp based protocol is clear to all.
Yes, sir.
Good. So let us discuss the timestamp ordering protocol. There is a theoretical point we are seeing over here. So we have an example by which we will clear all this picture. Timestamp ordering protocol is a protocol that is coming from the idea to determine the order of the transaction based on their timestamps. So if I need to see, I'm just first I'm taking the example, then the picture will be clear to you in simple way. Suppose there is an exam. So I have given the time to my student, you have to come on this time, you have to come on this time. So you are not coming in the time, so what happened? Your time will be lapsed. So this is what I have given the time. So before expiring your time, before lapsing your time, you have to join the meeting, you have to you have to submit the assignment. So that is the point from which we can say. So in the exam time, if you are coming on the time on the hall, exam hall, then you will able to face the exam. So what is the order I can take? It's a very simple order. The student who is coming first. It doesn't mean what is the roll number he or she has, but what is the order he is coming. So he is coming on the time, or he is coming on the just before 2 minutes before starting the exam. So depend on the first come first serve basis. I am just giving to the all the student you have joined over here. You come here, you come here, and just go there and you just find your seats. A student is uh, very in hurry. He's just coming on the last moment before starting the exam. Sir, can I take my seat? You're coming on the last time and you are telling me, sir, can I sit my seat? Okay. So you have a very less time. Now you are the recent operation, you are transaction, you can say, you are the recent transaction. So you will have the less time compared to the other student time because you are coming the at the last and you have a less time to compare with other students. So time utilization is very important point. But before expiring time, you are coming, then it's okay. But after the expiration of time or after expiration of the exam, you will come and tell me, can I submit my sheets now or can I write my exam? So how it is possible? Because the time is already given to you. Now you are coming the order which is to be maintained by all these transactions which are followed by the timestamp. Okay, so in this general statement, I can speak over here. All the transactions which are having the timestamps and in the timestamps, all the transactions are having, but what order they are coming. So this is simple thing I can speak over here while booking the ticket. Now I have entered into the my server when I have a chance to book my ticket. So my transaction time was started. If I'm not booking my ticket within 2 minutes, then my time will expire. So that is a total time stamp will be expired. So other will get a chance. So that is the reason. So other person has to wait. Okay, so that is the point. So from this point, we have a two operation, read and write operations followed by the timestamp. So WTS, which is highlighted over here in the yellow color, WTX means write operation on the X data item followed by the timestamp. And read TS means read timestamp on the data item X followed by the TS timestamp. So that is the point we have to keep in mind properly, and each and everything we have mentioned over here. So the point I need to highlight over here, the algorithm must ensure that for each data items accessed by conflicting operation in the schedule. So the order in which the item is accessed does not violate the ordering. So that is the point. If it is conflicting, so then we have to change its order by swapping. But if it's changing, then it should not violate the order. So if it's violating the order, so timestamp will not be happen. So conflicting operation may occur over here. Algorithm will decide each and everything. Now this is a task from where operating system and database play an important role together. And here something depend on the algorithm which is supported by the operating system and something depend on the feature of the operating system, the database. So when we have the MySQL is better, of course you are the same. But Oracle is more better because security terms of Oracle is better. So MyAccess is not a secure database and it does not provide the more facilities like the MySQL. So that's why the most of the people will not love to work with the MyAccess. That is the only reason. Now, come to the point, timestamp ordering. So timestamp ordering is a protocol which is required to maintain the order of the timestamps, and this timestamp will be allocated to the our data item on which we can perform our operation. Those are the read and write operation. Okay. So after this point, let us understand this one right now. This is the concept I have discussed with my other slots where I have discussed this point. So if I'm having the schedule, so T1, T2, T3 are the three different transactions. So this is the point we have to keep in mind. Just this is the time I'm giving to the. This is the transactions I have a T1. So the time. This is the time. This is the time. Okay, which is to be allocated to the transaction T1. Now this is the another transaction I have over here. This is another transaction that is I'm just highlighting. So it's the sequential. After completing transaction T1, so this time will given to the transaction T2. Next, I have the another transaction, third transaction T3. So in this transaction T3, you can observe over here. This time is given to the transaction T3, and in the transaction T3, it has the this time. So now you can observe over in the serial transaction T2, T1, T3 will have one order and they will execute order by order. So they have the some time. Content execution, what we have been observed in transaction T2, we have it has the transaction T1 has some time. Transaction T2 again we are moving to transaction T2, so we are following the inconsistent state. So T2 but T1 to T2 and T2 T3 they are moving for solving the problem or for executing the instruction on the transactions respectively. So T1 T A B C D what I have written over here. This is the A suppose ST is given to the T1, TB is given to the ST2, TC we have another transaction another time which is given to the T3, TD which is given to the T1 again. So the total time which is taken by the transaction T1, so we can add these two transactions to determine the what is the total time which is taken by the transaction T1, so we can add over here. So this is the point, but this all these steps are done into the inconsistent state. But at the last, before ending the transaction T1, and it was in the inconsistent state in between the transaction T2 and transaction T3 performed or executed some its instructions. After that, transaction T1 was completed. So the time what is I mentioned over here, transaction T1 to this time in which I am just adding the total time. This total time will determine the its time stamp. So in the concurrent execution, we have many times to execute all the instructions. So that is the reason practically concurrent execution is much applicable to solve our real problem because it contains the many times. Just like example, I'm remembering if you have any bank account in your HDFC bank, so while withdrawing the amount from the ATM card from HDFC, then a timer will start automatically over the screen, which determines that is you have the 60 minutes, 60 seconds. Within 60 seconds, you have to complete a transaction, else your time was expired. In between, you can check your balance, you can withdraw the amount, you can change your PIN number, whatever you want to do. So that is the reason. Okay, so for doing this one, we have a basic timestamp ordering concept. From understanding this point, let us explore the more idea over here. Every transaction is issued a timestamp based on the when it enters the system. Suppose if an old transaction TI has a timestamp, so this is the old transaction that has a timestamp. This is TI, and the new transaction TJ assigns the new timestamp that is a TS. TS stands for the timestamp TJ and TI. So in this case, as stated, TJ is less than TSTJ, then what does it mean? It means the older transaction time will be less than the new transaction time. Yeah, definitely 8 a.m. is smaller than the 11 a.m. of course, because we have a 3 hour gaps. So how we are finding the 3 hour gaps? So what is the small value of the time? That is 8 a.m. So what is the maximum time value over here? 11 a.m. So from this perspective, we can say 8 a.m. is smaller than the 11 a.m. So that is the point. So that's why we have the mathematically we have the notation less than. The protocol manages the concurrent execution such that the timestamps determine the seriality order. So the timestamp of the protocol ensure that any conflicting read and write operation we have in the timestamp order So whenever we have some transition T, that is transition T, tries to issue a read item on the X and W, that is a write item on the X. If we are using the small algorithm, that is the part of our timestamp ordering. So timestamp ordering itself is a small algorithm that defines the order of the timestamp. This is to be known as the TO algorithm. This is known as the TO algorithm. TO means timestamp ordering algorithm. Because this timestamp ordering algorithm which determine which time based timestamp based operation execute first. So that is the point we have this thing. Let me explain this thing with the help of this point right now. I will explain this concept with the help of example. Whenever a transaction T issues a W item, suppose there is issue to write the item on the X, write the item X operation and check the following condition. So this is a condition we need to follow. If RTS, it means writing will take much time with the reading will take the much time to our total timestamp, that is TS. So over the transaction we have a timestamp, suppose that we have the 5 second total time, and we are reading the transaction and it is taking the 6 seconds. So 6 seconds is more than the total time, that is 5 we have. So within the time period, you have to complete your reading. But if you are doing so, your transition will be elapsed automatically. This has happened with me many times while observing the screen. I have been observed within the 60 seconds if I'm not performing my ATM operations. So I have observed 60 seconds. I have to perform a task, but I have been observed what is the counter showing. So I'm happy to see, okay, now 60, 59 and 58. So having seen the reverse number of the counter, I was happy to set it, but I didn't perform any operation. Now neither I withdraw or deposited or not perform any operation. Then definitely my time was expired. So this is saying to us the operation was abort. Okay, or what you will see, you will get a message on the screen, time expired, try again. Okay, unlike if I'm just trying to write something on the here, I'm just trying to enter the pin number and I have entered, but I got the within the 5 seconds I had to do, because machine is just showing the slow performance. Then I'm still trying to enter the pin number, I'm waiting. Sometimes it will happen due to the slow network, time was expired. It means I have written something, time was expired, which was the more than the given time period. So now the information was again cancelled, or the my transaction will be cancelled. It means the operation will be aborted. Or if I have just entered the some amount that is to be withdrawn, but it is the not withdrawing within the few seconds or time was expired, so the withdrawn amount was rolled back into the my bank. So rollback this transaction is also possible. So from real application, real example, I have explained this idea. So W item we can do. So there will be two issues on the W item or a read item. So there can be some conditions by which we can determine where the transition may fail or transition may cancel out or abort. The next issue we have read item. The read item is simple, it's very simple condition. It is very simple condition. It is already highlighted me over the green color. Then you can say TES is bigger than the normal TES total time. Then there will be no issue. It will be rejected automatically, as we have seen the above. But in the case of the W, writing time is very smaller than the transition T or equal. So our reading time or our execution time will be done perfectly. So you have been observed this thing, just you have 2 minutes, or within 2 minutes you have to complete transition. And now you have been observed so many times inside while booking the ticket. So your session was started automatically and within the 2 minutes you have to book a ticket. But unfortunately my network was so slow. But I'm unable to perform my operations. So what is happening over here? I'm still unable to withdraw amount. I'm still unable to book my ticket. So session was expired automatically because the total time was expired. It means my writing operation or my reading operation was bigger than the total time span. So that is the reason I can do. But I got a very good internet connectivity speed, and within a few couple of seconds, I booked a ticket. It means total time I had 2 minutes, but I booked my ticket within the 30 seconds, which is smaller than the our total time. So this is the reason. Okay, so this is the condition I can explain with the help of real life application. So this is the point. So this is to be understood into the timestamp protocol. Okay, and the order we are choosing from the this condition basically, which read and write operation I must take care over here. All these things are really implemented into the our real life applications like booking the ticket, booking the train ticket, booking the flight ticket, and booking the so many other things. Okay, in the banking application as well. Okay, is it clear to all right now? This concept is clear. Yes, tell me. Is it clear to all right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Next.
sir.
Okay, thank you. So, in the examination, if I'm asking this kind of a question, so you can explain your idea by taking a real life application. So, theory I can read, no issue, but I need a justification. Okay, so please keep in mind what the points. Next, this point you can observe over here. To illustrate this protocol, that is the timestamp or base protocol followed by the time ordering protocol, we consider the transition T14 and T15. Transition T14 displays the content of the account A and B. So you can observe over here, display the account. Transition T14 displays the content of the account A and B. Okay, so this is the point. Display the content of account A and B. It means this transaction. And transaction T15 contains the transfer the rupees 15. So transfer the rupees 15. So that is the point we are deducting, and along with we are adding. And now it is also display the content of the both. And this is happening over here. These two things are given to us in our question. Now, let us understand what is doing over here. In the presenting schedules, we have the under the timestamp protocol. So we are not following right now the lock based protocol. Now, if you're talking about the locking protocol, so lock unlock will be applicable there. Two-phase locking, so lock unlock will be there. But in the timestamp, there is no need to use the over here. But if you want to use, then you will use. But you can say you are using the timestamp protocol along with the log based protocol. So do not increase the complexity. Just understand the concept step by step. So here we're talking about the timestamp protocol. So no log, no unlock data variable will be applicable over here. So in the presenting schedules under the timestamp protocol, we shall assume that a transaction is assigned timestamp immediately before its first instructions, and thus in a schedule of the figure, that is a TS, that is the total time of the transaction 14 is smaller than the transaction 15 total time. So, and the schedule is possible under the timestamp protocol. So let me explain. First, I'm reading the B. So reading B. So here, no conflicting over here. So I have already explained this concept to my other stuff. So that's why I'm speaking over here. So no conflicting will be here. So definitely we can say over here. If it is conflicting, then we have to manage all the things. So here we can see here we have the reading operation. So no conflicting will be there. We can read, but we can't use a write operation or read write I can't. So V is equal to V minus 50 I can do. So in the T15 it is performing this operation. So now it is performing perfectly. Now write I'm being, so this is means I'm performing the right operation. So after writing something over here, I'm trying to read A. So after reading A, I'm just trying to read over here. So if I'm reading A over here, I'm putting this message over here. So again, no conflicting will be there. So it means there is no issue. It means there is no conflicting, so no need to transform our concurrency execution based scheduling or non-serial schedule into the serial schedule. So no need to change. So now I'm using the display A plus B. This was my point. In the T14 we have. So it will display the result only the A and B. So what it will display? It will add the value of the A and subtracted value of the B only. But it will not generate the correct result. So what I have done, what I have done, A equal to A15 I can do, or A equal to A15 I can do on the above side. So display function I have to take right over here, okay, or I have to take right over here. But I can't take display A plus B at the bottom side or before before finishing the any operation of the T15. Why? Because timestamp of the T14 was lesser than the T15. So that's why I have to finish all the instructions before writing the instruction T15. So that is the point. So I have to write all the instruction of the T14 before writing the instruction of the T15. So that is the reason. Now, A equal to A plus B 15, you can take the up, but display A plus B and the 15, you can write the last, you have to write last. Minimum last instruction you have to write the last before the after the T14. You can't take before the T14, else the order will change. You can take, but at the time you have to satisfy the condition. Total time of the T14 is greater than total time of the T15. So at that moment, you can write this display at the bottom, at the last. This moment you can last or after the display of the T15. So you have to make the order, and how you are making. So this is the base of the condition. Okay, so this is the simple concept of the timestamp ordering. So this was an example of the timestamp ordering example. It's a timestamp ordering protocol. So now it is clear to all right now? Yes, tell me. Yes, everything is clear or any problem you have, so please you can ask me right now, anything.